Solipsistic. Someone who's solipsistic is so focused on their own wants and needs that they don't think about other people at all.
Lando Norris started on pole position again and failed to win. Again. This may sound harsh, but it's the truth. As good as the McLaren package has been for the last 6 races, it's pretty bad that the young Englishman only managed to win 1. I think Lando Norris misses the backbone and the ruthlessness to win a Thai championship. I'll explain exactly why in this video. I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. First of all, I want to say that I like Lando Norris. He's a great driver and he comes across as a fun guy to hang out with. It helps that he's good friends with my favorite driver Max Verstappen. But he should take a leaf out of his book, but more about that later. I admired him when he decided to stay at McLaren, even when successful teams like Red Bull were dangling contracts in front of his face. He decided to stay there and trusted the McLaren organization to deliver a great car, which he has now. They did their part on the technical side and now it's time for the next step. That next step is for him to drive and behave like a champion. This is something we haven't seen from him so far. A very fortunate safety car helped him with the win he did score in Miami, and if that hadn't happened, he would have still been Lando no wins. I'm glad that race went his way and we all expected him to grow in confidence after that win. But he failed to win many more races after that. One could argue that it wasn't all his fault, and I agree. However, did he do enough to prevent things like that ever happening again? Did he throw over some tables and make things crystal clear to prevent strategic errors being made again? I don't think he did. He is always quick to point out flaws in himself and not blame others. And that sounds like a noble thing to do. But is it beneficial for the rest of his season and the rest of his career? Let me start with one flaw he seems to have, and that's his starts. He always loses positions which he has to fight back to gain again. Now you could say that's completely his own fault, but seeing the technical side behind a good start, I think it's time he pulls up his team to improve his steering wheel or something. Maybe there's an issue on the technical side. Other drivers have struggled with this too and solved it. Another flaw is that he's indecisive when it comes to strategy. I think the McLaren pit wall is asking too many questions and they should make more decisions for him. But that starts with him admitting that he wants it that way. Lewis Hamilton leans on his race director Bono too for strategy, and many times he questions the decisions that work out just fine in the end. So with the knowledge that Norris doesn't have a race brain like Alonso or Sainz, it should be standard for his team to call the shots and he just needs to do the lap times. A third flaw is his mentality. Sometimes he comes across like he's close to crying when things don't go as planned. He then takes things with a certain resignation and a big sigh, which is also something the great champions didn't do. They had an attitude of, when I'm right, and when I'm wrong, I'm still right. That dominant display isn't appreciated by the media and the fans. But who cares if you're holding the winner's trophy, right? I might even get angry comments for what I'm saying in this video, but I don't give a shit. This is my space and it's my opinion. It seems to me that Lando Norris is too concerned with his image and the way he's seen by the fans and the media. I noticed this after his first win when he reacted to the Lando no-win slander name he received. That shows that he's hearing it all and is bothered by it. He has come out a while ago saying that he has struggled with the mental side of F1 and had help. This is great. Anything that holds you back needs to be dealt with, and he has made steps in the right direction. But he needs to get that final bit of killer instinct. It was impressive in a way that he was so close to winning his second race but gave it up anyway. It was a very hard choice. Lose the win and get praise from your team and teammate, or grab the win and face the backlash from the team, media and fans. As hard as that choice was, I think he chose the lesser of two evils. But that was the easier path. And slowly we're creeping towards that one ingredient that he's missing to make him a world champion. In the quote, read out by my lovely wife, it's explained what solipsistic means. The great champions like Lauda, Senna, Schumacher, Alonso, Hamilton and recently Verstappen have that focus on themselves that makes them rise above the rest. They asserted their dominance and didn't care about their team, teammate, opponent, media or the fans. They were one with the car and their personal ambitions, and everything else was a side issue. They might talk a little differently outside of the car, because PR is very important, but when it comes down to them or someone else, they always choose numero uno. I think that's a good strong quality, one that helped them in the long run, like for instance in the case of team orders. A car having to slow down to let another driver get past for whatever reason is unnatural and should be prevented at all costs. Schumacher did it once to thank Barrichello, Hamilton did it in the last lap of a race because he owed Bottas one, Verstappen plainly refused it in Malaysia when they asked him to let Sainz through. And the reasoning behind Verstappen's refusal made sense too. Even as a 17-year-old, he didn't shy away from that conversation. And that firm no was a sign of what was yet to come. He refused again in Brazil when he was asked to let Perez through. He had his reasons then, and he took the backlash for what it was, but the team knows to never ask him again. Perez has never been a threat again after that, and that's a result. Piastri and Norris might get into one of these situations again, and it's either expected of him again, or if the situation is reversed, Piastri might have to let Norris by. But will he do that now that he has tasted the sweet taste of victory? Norris could have nipped that in the bud by just being selfish and grabbing that win. So in the case of Norris giving up a win in a race where he started on pole, with him being P2 in the standings and being faster in the last stint, he gave off a bad signal in my humble opinion. Let's not forget that Piastri went off track twice in the race. On the last occasion he was trying to get closer to Norris and went through the gravel. He was 6 seconds behind at one point. That alone would be reason enough to forget about the agreement. Norris is having enough trouble as it is to beat Piastri, who also had a fair share of bad calls from the team, and this win might boost his confidence and he'll become a bigger problem for Norris. Max Verstappen recently said he wants Perez to stay in that seat because it works for him, and the greatest achievements in F1 were accomplished with a dominant number 1 driver and a decent number 2. At McLaren we have 2 alphas, or sigmas as the kids call them nowadays. This will cost him both points, I'm sure of it. So for Lando Norris to become a champion, he needs to become a selfish prick. Like all of them, he needs to get that team and teammate in line. He needs to feel that he's the only one that matters and that he's always faster than anyone else out there. Public opinion be damned. Uncomfortable conversations be damned. Vettel won 4 championships by taking what he needed. Multi-21 is still a thing of course, but Oscar's manager, Webber, doesn't have a title to his name. Now that's the difference. Lando Norris needs to assert his dominance and focus on his goals and his needs, and only then we can see him shine and reach his goals. Subscribe if you want to see me reach my goals. Take care now. Doei doei.